few cars have seen the kind of buzz, excitement, engagement and reactions as the XUV700. The kind of stuff that you guys have commented on our Instagram and social media handles has been incredible, and that just shows that the burden of expectation on the XUV700 shoulders is massive. Well, it finally is here. The wraps are off of it, and before we get to the heart of the matter, 200 horsepower, 200 horsepower engine, we have to address the elephant in the room, and that is styling. So now all the camo is off, and in the metal, I have to tell you, and I'm being completely honest, this does look good. Now, you guys have had a lot of mixed reactions, but when you see it in the flesh, you will actually appreciate it. Now, it looks unmistakably a Mahindra. It carries forward the Mahindra design DNA that we've seen in the XUV500. This looks like an evolution, adaptation, and a big brother of the XUV500, which it is. This C-shaped DRL LED graphic, that is striking. Now our drive, it started from Mahindra Research Valley and a 45-kilometer drive to Mahindra's new SUV Proving Track. There were 67 test cars, 67. And in my wing mirror, seeing all these cars with these LEDs, it cuts a striking shape on the road. This is the top of the line version. This is with the turbo-petrol engine, new engine, gearbox. This is a completely new platform. This is going to be a very, very, very important car for Mahindra. Well, not car, SUV, because Mahindra, they are reinforcing the fact that they are an SUV manufacturer. What do you think of the XUV700? We'd love to hear from you. Drop it in the comments below, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Stay notified for all our video drops, and if you like this video, give us a thumbs up so more enthusiasts such as yourself can watch this enthusiastic review of what promises to be a very enthusiastic SUV. Why are we excited about the XUV700? There are many reasons, but the main thing is this is now a 200 horsepower Mahindra. 200 PS, that is 197 bhp, 380 Newton meters of torque from this 2-liter turbo petrol engine, which has been designed and engineered in-house at Mahindra Research Valley. We are now at the Mahindra SUV Proving Track, and this is the crown jewel. Similarly to Natrax, where the high-speed track is the crown jewel, here too they have the high-speed track, which can test cars up to and over 200 kilometers per hour. Velu said that this can actually hit 200 kilometers per hour. Well, no better way to test his claims than to put it to the test. So the petrol, drive, ESP switched off, brake torque it, a little bit of wheel spin. This is quick, no two ways about it. This is quick. So we tested it with our V-Box, and we got a 0 to 100 time of 9.5 seconds. 9.5 seconds is fast for what is a big 7-seater SUV. The high-speed track, it has 2 bankings. Now we've been forbidden from using the topmost banking. We did use it a bit, but then they saw us, so now we are back down. So when we could use it, but on the last banking we couldn't really go all the way up to the topmost lane, we got a top speed of 197 kilometers per hour. That is fast. And what the engineers have been saying, that this is a fun to drive SUV. It is the truth. This really is a fast, fun to drive SUV. Okay, I have to point out one flaw, and that is the steering weight. Now the petrol, this does not get drive modes. The diesel gets drive modes where the steering weight can be increased. The petrol, it does not, and that means at low speeds the steering is very light. It really is too light, and the first impression is that this is just too flighty and does not give you confidence. But on the upside, as you drive it faster, the steering weight, it does go up. It does get better, and it gives it a more planted feeling and stance. So out here on the high-speed track, when you're on the banking at full speed, this does not scare you. This does not make you nervous. This is an SUV, a Mahindra designed and engineered SUV that you feel fully and completely confident in. Now, I asked Velu about his claims that this is the most torsionally rigid in this category, and I asked him what did he benchmark it against, and he clearly said, he didn't point which one exactly, but he clearly said that the cars, the SUVs in a class above were the benchmark, and the Germans, they do that best. We finally figured out that the Skoda Kodiaq was the benchmark for the XUV700 in terms of body rigidity, the torsional rigidity, which is fantastic. We all know how the Skodas and the Volkswagens drive. They are impressive. And the XUV, it has the meat behind all the styling talk and all the features and everything, but the engineering meat, that substance is there. The dampers, these are Koni FSD dampers, frequency selective damping, and these are Gen 2 dampers. So the first time we saw these Koni FSDs was on the Jeep Compass. This one has got the Gen 2 version, so one step up on the Compass. The kit on this is impressive. The suspension is not mere multi-link rear suspension. This is control blade rear suspension. There is an additional link to better control the wheel movement, so that even when you hit potholes or bad patches, the wheel does not move laterally. So it stays in place, and that gives it more planted dynamics and a better stance. And truth be told, when you actually hit the track, when you actually test it out, they've done a fantastic job. The way this engine delivers its power, the way the ride and handling is so well composed, the noise insulation, the refinement, the tactile feel where you hold the steering wheel, where your bum is on the seats, the driving position, the ergonomics, the visibility. I really can't complain about anything. We'll obviously hit the dynamic platform and test out the handling, but on the road, so we drove it 45 kilometers from Mahindra Research Valley to their new proving grounds, and on the road, over speed breakers, over bad patches of road, over a few corners that we saw, it was just so stable, so confident, just so bloody good. What a fantastic job Mahindra has done. And now the diesel. This is the 2.2 liter diesel engine that we first saw on the Thar, but here it makes more power. 182.5 bhp and 450 newton meters of torque with the 6-speed automatic gearbox. Now the diesel also gets drive modes, so it's accessed via this button out here, and you have zip, zap, zoom, and also a custom mode like the individual mode that you get on Mercs and BMW. So obviously we're going to stick it in zoom, and zoom, it gives better responsiveness from the engine and the gearbox, and crucially it weights up the steering a little bit more. Otherwise in the other modes it is a little too light. Even in zoom I think it's a little too light, but at least here it gets a little heavier. So in drive, brake torque it, we are on the high-speed track at the Mahindra Proving Grounds. You get a little bit of wheel spin before ESP cuts in. You can switch off the ESP, but it will activate back again post 60 kilometers per hour. And we tested it here with our V-Box, and we got a 0 to 100 time of 9.8 seconds. We also got a top speed of 190 kilometers per hour, but we would have hit 200 kilometers per hour if Mahindra were not insistent that we don't use the topmost lane. The diesel engine also, it is very refined, it is very smooth. Out here we're doing 118 kilometers per hour, and you can hear a bit of wind noise, but the engine is barely audible. There are no vibration coming into the cabin. It is very relaxed, and the torque, it makes high-speed cruising effortless. Before we hit the different tracks here at the Mahindra SUV Proving Track, a quick walk through the styling. Now, the C-shaped LED DRLs we've already spoken about. What I have to point out is this new Mahindra logo that sits proud and center. This has been refined by Pratap Bose after he joined Mahindra as head of design. It has a 3D effect, which actually goes against the trend because worldwide people are moving towards flatter 2D logos, but there will be a 2D version of this which can be used on mobile devices. So this Twin Peaks logo with the M, the characteristic Mahindra grille. Over in profile, this will remind you of the XUV500, and this does look like the bigger brother of the XUV500, which to me is a good thing. 18-inch wheels on the top end variants. These are MRF Wanderer tires, which actually work very well out on the track. We will come to that later on. The wing mirrors, these are sequential turn indicators, Audi-like turn indicators, which look very cool. And you have the cameras for the blind spot warning, which showcases on the digital cluster, which we'll show you later on. This is a big talking point. The flush fitting door handles to operate, actually very easy. So when you unlock the car, the door handles pop out. So it works well. But if you're walking against the car, this can catch your clothes or maybe your body. So you got to be a little careful. Roof rails, I think these are functional. They feel functional, but I'll check out and I'll put it in the supers. Over at the rear, quite nicely styled tail lamps, XUV700 badging. AX7 is the variant. This is the top end variant. L does not stand for long wheelbase. L is the option packs that you can get on the XUV700. So for instance, the top end version, on top of that, you then add the Sony sound system and other packs. So that denotes the pack that you have on the car. This prices are not yet out for this version. What we have got the prices for is the AX5, which is one step below this. Again, the new Mahindra logo out here, and this sort of looks like an afterthought. It seems like this entire panel has been stuck on later on once the new logo was designed, and that's the styling of the XUV700 for you. What do you think about it? Like I said, drop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear about it. Back to the testing. Out here at these proving grounds, it's not just the high-speed track. There are handling tracks, there are city road simulations, highway simulations. All of it can be done out here. It is an impressive facility, and it's not just about speed. But the fact is that at speed, that's when the dynamics really shine, or otherwise. And that's why we are now heading to the dynamic platform to really put those claims to the test. So this is the skid pad. We'll switch off ESP. The XUV700 also has torque vectoring. Of course, this is not mechanical torque vectoring, it is torque vectoring by brakes. So here on the steering pad, this car is running the MRF Wanderer tires, and the grip is good. You push it a little harder and it starts to squeal. Obviously, it tells you where the limits are, but I am doing 100 kilometers per hour and it's gripping well. There is good front end bite. Only thing I don't like is the steering. It's too light, lifeless, robs it of feel. But in terms of outright dynamic ability and grip and bite, it's good, it's good. Now you push it a little harder and the ESP does kick in. You can feel the slide a bit. You can feel the tail moving around a bit, but then ESP cuts in and saves you from yourself. This is obviously an SUV, so SUVs, you can't switch off ESP completely. That is to prevent rollovers, so rollover mitigation. But just the outright grip and bite that you get, and also slight amount of playfulness. So I'm chucking it in, and you can get into a bit of a four-wheel drift with the XUV700. As of now, it's only the diesel automatic that gets all-wheel drive. So we're out here to put the all-wheel drive system to the test. This is not four-wheel drive, this is all-wheel drive. So it helps you out in slippery surfaces or when one wheel loses traction. So we are here on an axle articulation track. Come on. Yeah. And this is the benefit of all-wheel drive. So when you have poor roads, or you want to have some fun, the XUV700, it will enable it. So even if you have one wheel in the air like I have right now, you will still have the grip to pull through. And it's a great thing that Mahindra have given this all-wheel drive. It stays true to Mahindra's SUV roots. It is authentic. All-wheel drive might only comprise maybe 5% of sales of the XUV700, especially when you consider that it is only available with the diesel automatic and it will only be available on the top of the line version, the most expensive version, but it is there. And the XUV700 does have more capability than its immediate rivals. Another cool track that they've laid out for us here is to check out the comfort and the damping of these Koni FSDs. So this is quite a severe set of bumps, which normally when you see it on the road, you will really slow down. But out here, we'll take it at maybe 30 kilometers per hour. So hitting the first, okay, so we'll do it at 15 because the car might take it, but my body might not. And this just shows how strong the body is, as well as how good these Koni FSD dampers are. We also got a chance to test out the advanced driver assistance systems that will be offered on the AX7 variant. You get adaptive cruise control that automatically brakes and accelerates the SUV depending on what is happening with traffic in front. You get lane keep assist that not only alerts you when you're getting out of your lane, but steers the XUV back into the lane and also keeps it in the center of well-marked lanes. There is driver fatigue warning, and you get collision warning that even applies emergency braking when it senses an imminent accident. There have been plenty of comments on the exterior styling of the XUV700, but on the insides, well, how can you complain about this? This is done so well. And this slab of digital real estate, what does it remind you of? Mercedes-Benz, of course. This is exactly what they do. And it is a damn good thing. You're getting Mercedes tech, well, sort of Mercedes tech at really affordable prices. Now, what you get out here are two 10.25-inch screens. The infotainment is a touchscreen, of course, and in front of the driver, it's the digital cluster. Now, this digital cluster is configurable in multiple modes. So you can change it to minimal, you can get big dials, you can change the width of the MID, you can have multiple displays on the MID. It also shows you the advanced driver assistance systems on the MID. On the center console, these switches look familiar from the Thar, but they are nice. You get a wireless charging pad, you get two USB ports, you get wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. Now we can't show you that because the final certification has yet to come, so that's why it's not active on these test cars. But when it goes on sale, it will have wireless CarPlay, Android Auto. The Sony sound system, I'm telling you, it is kick-ass. It is really, really good. 445 watts, it's got a subwoofer. It is fantastic and really well suited to the car. You get a big sunroof. Mahindra insists that this is a moonroof, and this is a really big sunroof. You don't get ventilated seats. You don't get paddle shifters for the steering wheel to control the automatic gearbox. You get manual as well as automatic for both the diesel as well as petrol. You get an electronic parking brake. You get rear disc brakes. This out here is a joystick. So it's not got a trackpad on top, but this is a joystick. So you can control the infotainment from here. You got 4 hard buttons. So you got the home button, you got the music control, you got the phone button. And this is also the volume knob, a nice big volume knob that the passenger can also use. Another thing that is very Mercedes-like are these controls for the seat adjustment. Now only the driver seat is power adjustable, but the controls are on the door pads, just like Mercs have it. And you also have 3 memory modes for the seat control. Also, when you switch off the car and you open the door, the seats slide back to make ingress-egress easier. For now, the XUV700 is available in 5 and 7-seater options. So there is a third row of seats. If you remember, even the 500 had a third row of seats. There are no captain seats for now, so there's only a bench in the middle. Now, in terms of space, the front seat is adjusted to my driving position, and I have around 2-3 inches of free knee room. The seats are also positioned high, so it's a nice, comfortable, very ergonomic seating position. The backrest angle, that can be adjusted. So you can recline, you can sit a little bit upright, you get an armrest. This actually is very comfortable. There's a nice little space here for your mobile phone, a USB-C charger, you have your aircon vents, no temperature control, but you have separate blowers. And if you're sitting on the left, you also have this boss mode. So you can slide the front seat forward and backward, get some more space for yourself. Also, you have this big sunroof, which obviously is the sky roof here in Mahindra speak. And all of this has got a whitish theme, so it makes the cabin even more airy. I don't know how difficult this is going to be to keep clean, but I like the colors and it just is a nice, happy, airy cabin. Not that you're going to fit full-size adults in the third row, but I have to show you what kind of space it has. So you get in, flip this down, actually easy to flip down. Getting at the back is not as difficult as in other cars, not as easy either. And let's see the space. Well, surprisingly, I can fit in at the back. Okay, my knees are touching the back of the seat, but it's not like I have to sit like this. I can actually fit in at the back. So for short journeys, full-size adults can also fit into the back of the XUV700, the third row. You also get blower controls. You get a charging point out there. Headroom, my head is touching, so okay, it's not the most comfortable. But for short journeys, if you sit a little cramped, it's okay. For children, this is fine. And you get proper seat belts also. And in the interest of proper road testing, I'll also show you the space at the back. Now, this is the space with the third row up, which basically you can put 2 plastic bags. That's all the space there is. But if you fold the seats down, you do get a decent amount of space, and it is a flat floor. And of course, the second row also folds flat, so you get a nice big loading area. I have to point out this tailgate, that is plastic, so it's light, but it is not power operated. So you got to use your hands, but you don't need to use muscle because it is so light. If I considered my job to be work, I would be grumbling right now about having to work on a holiday on Independence Day. But I don't. I really enjoy what I do. I'm fortunate enough to get paid for my hobby. And I'm not getting really hyperbolic about the XUV700, but it has been an absolute pleasure to spend an entire day with the XUV700 here at Mahindra's new test track. It's 6:30 in the evening and we've been at it since 6 in the morning, testing out the XUV700 thoroughly. Now, obviously, the headline is the pricing. 12 lakhs starting price, and the AX5, which is one grade below the AX7, which we've driven, is 15 lakh rupees. That is excellent pricing. This might be around 17, 18, maybe 19 with all the option packs on it. And even then, it represents fantastic value for money. What are its rivals? The Hector Plus, the Safari, the Alcazar. It undercuts everything on price, and it gives you a lot in terms of performance. Engines, both powerful 200 kilometers per hour capable engines, the petrol as well as diesel. Excellent automatic gearbox. It also has a manual gearbox. Great ride and handling. The option of all-wheel drive. Fantastic features inside the car. This is spot on. Mahindra have done a fantastic job, and you will 100% see a lot of these XUV700s on the road very, very soon.